This is architect Rutuja Rode, and I am presenting this episode, which is meant for students and young professionals to understand the often missing link between academics and the industry. Today, we will be understanding what these gaps are and how they can be bridged. So, we have a special guest who is present in both academics and profession and hear his honest feedback on the same. Today's guest is someone who effortlessly bridges the gap between academics and the practice. Architect Mahesh Bangad is the co-founder of Studio 7 Incorporated and a senior design associate with Akshata Design Studio. With over 17 years of professional experience and 14 years of experience as an educator, he has served as the head of department at BNCA. He is also leading various architectural communities like the ESA and the IIA. He is a nationally awarded educator, a speaker, and a mentor for students, and he is actively shaping the next generation of architects while contributing to the practice. Welcome, Mahesh sir. We wanted you to give us your introduction in your own words, take us through your journey, first as a student, then as a professional, then you ventured into teaching and back into the professional field and contributing to the community as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rutuja. It's a pleasure being here. The journey started with no background of architecture actually. My parents were insisting me to become a CA because we had a working background at home, we had a business. But then eventually the love for drawing and sort of sketching drove me to architecture. I went and appeared for an entrance exam. Funnily, I topped it. So my parents thought maybe I'm made for it. So I went into Bharati Vidyapit College of Architecture. Took my architectural education there 5 years. I was lucky to have good mentors. My teachers told me that I was made for this field. And I realized it when I topped the university in second year. Then went on to be a part of the largest association of students of architecture, which is the National Association of Students of Architecture, NASA India. And when I got associated with NASA, I realized the potential of being in the field. Also, what students can do for the field. An association entirely run by the students, of the students, and for the students. And the love for NASA grew over the years, and eventually I became the president of NASA, the national president. And with that, I got the whole opportunity of talking to, meeting, and learning from all the big mentors, the big guys in architecture, whom we call master architects. And 2-3 of such interactions with the best in the business sort of told me that I think there was this gap of academia and profession, and it's been existing for last 20 years, 25 years. So eventually, after graduating, I realized I needed something that would allow me to use my skills of management, because through NASA I had learned few. I went on to do my masters in UK. I went to the Manchester University, did a master's in project management. While I was learning project management, I realized that architects are a little poor with documentation and management. So I thought when I go back to India from UK, I will join teaching and try and see if this gap could be bridged in terms of teaching. So my intent of coming back to India and joining BNCA to teach was to largely only teach the subject of project management. I wanted to tell the students as architects why it is important to have documentation done well, and then how do you manage things, how it is important to become better managers. And I think you have seen it at BNCA as well, and I have seen many of our students now becoming good site managers in terms of design managers than just become construction managers or project managers. So eventually I reached out to BNCA, Dr. Kashyap, our mentor, and I inquired with him whether he would be okay with me joining as a teaching faculty, and thus started the journey 15 years ago, 2010. And from then, when about 4-5 years into the teaching, I realized that my knowledge was falling short. I wanted to be upbeat with the current market trends. That is when I said, okay, 2014, I started Studio 7 Inc. And it's 11 years now. I am practicing as well as teaching. And I realized that the practice teaches you more so that you can teach better. So that's how the journey has been. Over the years, senior mentors told me that I needed to give it back to the society, to the fraternity. So I joined associations like INTAC, the IIA, the Indian Institute of Architects, the Indian Institute of Interior Designers, and also ASA. ASA is the Architects Engineers Surveyors Association. And when I got into these associations, of course, this is voluntary work. I realized that I could contribute to the fraternity, to the community, and that's where I thought I should take on roles in different organizations. And God has been kind. I got opportunities, and that's how I got into the executive committees of these associations. And now, because of both the BNCA connection and the association connection, I'm able to contribute to both the worlds.
But you are not just, all of us are either just doing the industry work or some of us just doing the academic works. How are you managing to step on all these stones and still being successful? Like, what drives you and what motivates you? How do you manage your time?
I think one key aspect of managing time is to doing what you love. So if you are put into a job that you are not really enjoying, then it's going to be difficult to manage your time. When I learned project management as a formal training, I realized that if you could bifurcate your time, your day, and you're prioritizing things, what you want to do when, you're better able to do more things in a day. And it's not about day, it's about the long-term goals that you have set for yourselves. So when I realized that I could teach and do something and I was left with more time, I started contributing to other areas. When I started contributing to other areas, I realized I was better at them. So then I started contributing to more associations. And eventually what happened was, it's a linked process. When you contribute at one association, you are trying to bring the community together. That's the motive of the other associations also. So then I eventually got introduced to other associations, and then we realized that the common motive of celebrating, the whole idea of celebrating architecture, design, interior design is so important for our community, because we are a very tight community and the creative souls need that sort of celebrations, that sort of boost. And that is where I decided, okay, I will plan my days and my weeks and my months accordingly in a manner where I'm able to contribute everywhere. Of course, teaching is the core passion. I've jokingly tell people that I want to I need a death like Abdul Kalam, because APJ Kalam died while delivering a speech. He got his heart attack. So I said, I want to die while I'm teaching, because that's the passion. That's the passion part of it. And then you don't decide how much time to give. It's not a job then. And that's where I thought teaching to ho raha hai. Let's keep doing that, but let's contribute in other zones as well. And I think I will not call myself successful per se, but I'm trying to do better than what I was doing yesterday. So every day I'm trying to learn from the youngsters, from the seniors, from the mentors in the field. And I think I'm pretty happy doing what I'm doing, and I want to do more and more of this.
So now if you remember, you were my class teacher in first year, and second year I had decided to leave architecture. I had decided to quit. And I remember very clearly, 1 week I stayed absent in college. It was not that my academics were bad. As a submission and all that, I mean, I was doing decently well. But I just lost my interest and I thought, I am not going to do this. And I remember you calling me out when you saw me just secretly running out of college. You called me out and you gave me one big bashing that day, that you are not doing this. I don't care. You have to be present from Monday onwards and you're not missing a single class. I mean, it's that day that changed my life. And here we are, almost 11 years after graduating from BNCA, that we are still sitting together and now having a podcast chat.
Right.
So I have a question for you. So, teachers like you who go beyond syllabus, how does that impact students' lives? I have a personal experience,
Right.
but what is your takeaway from it and how does it help you as well?
Right, excellent. I think I fondly remember this, and also I remember this because I generally get deeply moved when students decide to quit architecture. See, when you take up a course, professional course, you are very passionate about it and that's why you take it up. But if you start losing interest or if you are not performing as per your potential, the teacher is the first person who will know that something is wrong with this person. But I of course remember you had more interest in dancing and so many other things that you were always busy with. Maybe that's why you were not able to give your 100% to what you were learning. Architecture per se.
But I'll interrupt you here. BNCA supported me.
I'm
BNCA
sure.
did
Sure.
support. They I remember Kashyap sir calling me and telling me, you tell everybody that architecture is your hobby and dance is your career. And
right.
that's what motivated me. And I love that space. So,
I understand.
I feel that you did shout at me, but at the same time, you kept your hands also for me to have a support.
Right.
So that was there.
Right. So this is where the teacher's role becomes important, and you rightly pointed out, not every teacher would do that, but you need teachers who would sort of not really give you just a support, become a support system, but boost your morale in a manner where you realize that you have potential, but you aren't performing up to it. So how it has helped me in the longer run is whenever I meet students who are not really doing well in the classroom, I sure know for a fact that they're doing something well outside it. And if you are able to know that thing and support it, then they will reciprocate in a manner that they'll start performing back in the classroom. That's what probably happened with you as well. And I clearly remember your final year thesis, BH Viva. It was wonderful the way you presented, and the confidence you had in your design also spoke a lot about how you had started enjoying the field. And 11 years hence, you said you are practicing, you are contributing your bit to the whole profession, is also because you developed that sort of liking over the years with it. But it didn't just grow overnight or something like that. You had to work hard. And I think this idea of working towards something every single day adds a lot of value to your career. As a teacher also, after about 3 years, I clearly remember our vice principal at BNCA gave me a handwritten note saying, congratulations on your 3 years at BNCA, but I'm not sure whether you would stay longer here because you don't really only like teaching, you like so many things, other things as well. But like you rightly said, BNCA supported me in venturing out into doing everything else than just doing a teaching job. So then I had questioned myself as well, whether as a teacher, am I enjoying enough just teaching part of it, or what am I enjoying from this field that I want to do this for the rest of my life? And then the mentoring part, the whole idea of just going beyond the classroom, mentoring students, looking them as not just a cross section of 40 students in a classroom, but looking them as individuals who could outperform. It allowed me to give my better. And then eventually this counseling sessions and mentoring led to individuals who were able to contribute beyond the classroom and do more outside the classroom as well, and then give it back to the classroom.
You have been up to date with all our lives, and it gives us that feeling that one message I want to drop, Mahesh sir. I want to drop your message that this has happened, I have done this, I have done that, and that feeling comes because you give us that space.
And I think that feeling is mutual. So if I reciprocate your message, I'm also trying to keep in touch is one aspect of it. But the feeling that somebody is remembering you in their good times or bad times as well also tells you that they keep a lot of faith in you. And this faith drives your passion as well. So when I receive a message saying, good morning sir, I want to come and see you because I've just got placed into one very big firm and I'll be moving out of the city, it tells me that, okay, great, this student has worked to her potential and now is going to grow beyond her comfort zone, and she wants to update me about it. So I feel good. If somebody sends me a message saying I need a certain help and I'm able to help them, it tells me also as an individual that, okay, I'm capable of helping people. And eventually this give and take allows both of us to grow.
Correct.
Which I think is very important in our field.
So you are talking about this dialogue that is a mutual one. So I'm sure that many people from my batch and previously must be in touch with you. How is it these days, like with the Gen Z and the Gen Beta? How is that dialogue? Has it evolved? I'm sure things have changed.
Yes, they have changed. They have changed for good also and for bad also, I would say, because the younger generation. This whole idea of Gurukul system that had evolved over the years, it has not disappeared, I would say, but it has blurred because students have become more friendlier with their teachers. They have become more open about their expressions. That is also because maybe at the home front also they are quite open about their opinions and their feelings to their parents, or not also. So they use this as a channel to open up. But with over last 15 years of teaching, I've realized that students, there are two sectors of students. One sector is the one who's very open about their feelings and opinions, and they will openly tell you that in front of you. And then there's this other one who don't really know how to channelize their thoughts and give them out. But like you said right now, it is with your generation maybe, and I don't want to categorize them as year wise or a Gen Z or a Gen Alpha or a Gen Beta, but I think in recent times we've become very insecure about our feelings, insecure about letting people know what we want to tell them. With a little older or senior students, it was very easy to dialogue because they could come to the same level and interact. So I think as times have progressed in the field of architecture and generally in the field of design, I would say that interactions have reduced, which originally was the base of this
You
field.
mean physical communication?
Right,
Because there's so much social media.
There's so much of e-platform.
Correct.
That you tend to only have a superficial image of things.
Correct.
That in-person dialogue, that sitting with someone over a tea, has disappeared.
Yeah.
That whole intimacy of sharing or pouring your heart out to somebody has disappeared because lack of trust, lack of belief, or maybe the whole lack of idea of communication itself. I remember going to the tea stall Jitu Ki Chai near college with students and sharing their stories with them, and they were very open about their opinions and ideas. They would tell their problems, and in our ways as teachers, not just me, we would try and help them.
But that's what architecture is, right? I mean, even when in office we are brainstorming, the idea never comes in office, or when we are looking at each other on Teams, we decide, okay, let's go down to the chai tapri, let's stand there and let's do nothing. Let's just look at the people around, and the idea comes in at that time. So what you're saying, I mean, is the basis and foundation of our whole industry, our whole profession. But I want to ask, like, this has led to a lot of gap in the industry and the academics, because what I'm noticing is when these Gen Z come now to our offices, like our office, they feel very underprepared, and it's like a black and white, there's no gray.
Right.
Either they feel okay, they know it all, and then there's a lot of unlearning to do, or then they're absolutely non-confident, they don't know anything and they're underprepared, and then it's just okay, open chat GPT and ask questions. So in this kind of a situation, what do you think could be some kind of changes that we can bring about? And you could answer it from both sides, I mean from academics and from industry side as well.
Yeah, so I would like to answer this question from both the sides. Let's look at the confident one first. These students are generally the class toppers. They get the A's and the O's, and they sort of become confident, and then they blur that line between confidence and overconfidence. They move out and they think they know it all because they scored well. So I think the larger responsibility lies with the academia to make sure that the students understand that the marks are not the only yardstick to judge whether you are a good practitioner or you have become a good professional. So that is one part. The underprepared ones, which is a larger lot I see, are also because the field is vast. And in creative field, it is very easy to lose track. So that is where the role of mentoring from both the professional side and the academia sides become important. And I think largely in Pune, in a city like Pune, we are trying to get the professionals to talk to the academic interface and deal with the students, because the students need to understand that it's a big world out there, but they are also going to contribute eventually. What has happened with the underpreparedness also is because they are underprepared, they don't apply for good job roles. They think they are not made for it. And we lose out good talent, hardworking talent, only because of that underpreparedness. And the confident ones or the overconfident ones are taking away their jobs. And then again, you have rightly pointed out a very important thing, the unlearning part. I think the unlearning must happen during their internship period. They should be told that you need to not do this. And this is not how the world works. So larger responsibility again lies with the professional offices, that they should take a path of empathy towards the interns to tell them that they need to unlearn a lot.
But sir, at this point, there is very little patience. They feel at that point they want to do the whole project top to bottom. They have no idea how much of team effort and time basically goes in it. So how do you feel that can be addressed by the professionals?
Right. I think I'll address that, but before that, I'll address a very important thing. The younger generation today, the fresh graduates, are dealing their world through a screen.
Yeah.
Their whole idea of sitting across and taking mentorship is not happening. They look at screens and they say they're absorbing through it. And they think as quickly as they absorb, they are learning, which is not the process. If you remember in our schools, we were asked to recite poems, and before we were asked to recite any poem or for that matter, a Sanskrit Subhashit, you were asked to by heart it and understand its meaning, put a tune to it also, and then come back and recite it after a week. And you would go home and you will not just mug it up, you would revise it over and over again. That Riyaz part has missed out in architecture now. You make a drawing, you feel you can build it. It's
Correct.
not how it works. So in the field, for the professionals, I think they need to actually, and I'm in full favor of this, that the professionals need to give them the right dose, the interns and the young graduates, that look, understand the field is collaborative, one.
Yeah.
Two, it is intense. It's not about one person's viewpoint. It is
Yeah.
about everybody's viewpoint. Three, very, very importantly, and I think this lot of officers miss out on, they think they are giving stipend. In fact, they should be receiving money from the student for teaching them. That has happened with
Yeah.
a lot of offices. But the third part is that the offices should tell the students that it is called practical training. You are
Correct.
here to get trained.
Correct.
Get in that mindset first. So when you enter office as a student, this is for all the students, I would say. When you enter any office, go with this whole idea of a blank slate. Forget what you were taught in the 8-9 semesters of your education in terms of knowing it all.
Correct.
Understand the basics, but go in this with open mind and learn from the office. Tell the office what you know of.
Correct.
And with that, I don't know, we will take this up later, but I want to make a point right now here. Students should upskill. The problem
Correct.
with
Absolutely.
upskilling
Yes.
is students don't know what they need to know.
Yes, exactly.
I think that one sector, if we are able to address
Yes.
at academia also and at the professional level, it will change the whole
Yes,
landscape
yes.
of practice in India. I've been in talks with the Council of Architecture, and the Council of Architecture, the apex body of architecture, has been doing tremendous work in this regard.
Yes.
What you are trying to tell. They, in fact, the Council of Architecture hired a lot of interns at their own council office for them to know what sort of work
Where is
the
the
Council of
level?
Architecture
Yeah,
is doing.
yeah.
And the council will also know what is the level of academia in the country. And I realized that there are so many upskilling avenues, especially after COVID or after the entire pandemic, that the students should use for
Yeah.
upskilling themselves. I did a talk about 3 years ago about ways to upskill and the need to upskill.
Yeah.
And I had students come and tell me, graduated students come and tell me that, sir, we didn't know that this was all needed.
Yes.
Or this all could have been done. But then when they realized that there are so many things that still need to be done,
Yes.
they eventually started becoming better students. And where you also pointed out, the underpreparedness also comes from lack of exposure. See, I'll not take specific BNC as an example because we do a lot of efforts
Yeah.
in reaching out and making students participate into various opportunities, right from workshops to international collaborations. But generally in the entire education field of architecture across India, the exposure is a big factor.
Yeah.
Students must participate. They must go and represent the institute. They must stand for themselves. It's not about just participating in design competitions. They should participate in elocution. They should go and write essays. They should do painting walls. They should do pottery. They could participate in sports. Everywhere they go, they sort of become more and more confident
Yeah.
about their own skills. So, to bridge this entire gap of preparedness or underpreparedness and this confidence and overconfidence, I think profession and the academia will have to work hand in
Yeah.
hand. And here the role of institutes become important, the role of Indian Institute of Architects, the role of Council of Architecture. Obviously, all of them will have to work hand in hand and sort of build this community
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
There are efforts being done. I'm not saying no, but I'm sure with time, these efforts will consolidate and we will have a good generation of architects coming off in the next 3-5 years, and if we start working collaboratively.
Yeah. I think what you're saying is something that's not just applicable for B.Arch students. I mean, I recently did my M.Arch and I did it in computational architecture. So when we came out of there and few of my friends got placed in large international offices, I got a phone call from them saying that, oh, but we are just doing something that's kind of like an Excel, we are doing just a very small, low responsibility, we are not doing computation, and that feeling of impatience I could gather. And at that point I felt, okay, there's a similarity. It's not just B.Arch students, but anybody who's stepping into the profession after completing a degree has to understand that it's going to take some time, like a gestation time. And what you rightly pointed out, there has to be a skill building constantly. So what I realized is that in our practice, we don't do that. And it's like a cricket team. Cricket team is not just going to go and play matches, right? They're going to have training periods to train for those matches. But what happens in the field is project after project, we are doing the same copy paste chip cow design. And honestly speaking, in India, I think our objective is only to achieve the areas, to achieve the quantity of real estate. So overall, what are we really creating?
Right.
So what I thought of, or what I've been thinking of, okay, let's start a little skill training sessions in our own office. So which means that I need to push myself from the back, and I'm taking inspiration from you by stepping out and doing multiple things. So now that being said, I wanted to ask you, like, if there was one piece of advice you would connected to this topic, you wanted to give your students to say that, okay, don't just do good work, just to land some good job. How would you say overall, this is an advice that will shape your life?
Right.
So how would you address that kind of an advice to students?
It is important to understand that there's no one true set of advice that can go into the audience. I'll go back to what you said a while ago, and I would link this answer to it. You look at Peter Zumthor, you look at Daniel Libeskind. Tell me a building they built before the age 50.
Correct.
Daniel Libeskind's first project that got him international acclaim was at the age of 50. But that doesn't mean he didn't practice architecture from age 23 to 50. For 27 years, he learned architecture. And in the 50th year, was he able to completely justify by building the Jewish Museum. So I think this whole idea of patience is lost because quick money, quick fame, and this whole social media ruining the whole...
I was going to come to social media.
we will talk about it, I think. Yeah. But this whole idea of quickly going to fame is bothering, and that is ruining the field. Eventually, it ruins the field, I feel. The second point I feel is, how do you prepare somebody for something that is beyond 30 years from now? So you first prepare them to understand what their role in the society is. Imagine an architecture student graduating today. What all can he do or she can do? He or she can take up a job, learn from the masters, and eventually when he or she is confident enough to take up work by themselves, then they can take up work. Somebody may say, no, I'm well prepared. I want to take up my first site. I'm in my final year. My uncle is making a house. I want to be the architect of it. They will try. Trial and error will always teach you more. But there is no sure shot way of success towards doing good architecture. So I think the students need to be told that the patience, and not just B.Arch students, like you mentioned, M.Arch students also, that you won't be given a job on your plate immediately, one. Two, once you take up a good job at a good multi-international firm, you are not going to be given the idea of designing immediately or the task of designing. You will be first judged by your skills. What all do you know? How do you contribute?
Your
and
readiness.
It is these, readiness for the field. And it is these small efforts. This jigsaw will come together only at a much later stage.
Yeah.
This morning when we started interacting, I remember we spoke about a certain firm in Pune where the intern became the junior architect, then the senior architect, eventually an associate, and now she is the director of the firm.
Yeah.
So practices evolve. You have to give that much time with the firm.
Correct.
And it does happen over the years. younger guys have taken over bigger firms, and you see multiple firms across the world, partner firms, be it the east or the west, they have evolved from just a group of 5 men starting a firm together to have become 250 people working
Yes.
together.
Yes.
And they're big.
I think all the big names have
Right,
the same
and
story.
they've
Yes.
become big by themselves. So I think this patience will either come by telling them
Yeah.
or learning from the field,
Yeah.
or third is the profession pushing it down their throat, telling them that boss, this you will have to be patient with
Yeah.
growing.
Yeah.
And when we go back to our social media topic, I would make this point again, but I think the social influencers have a bigger role in this. This social media influencers have to play a big role. They have to convey that they have received fame through only that screen, but they have only received fame. They have not created buildings or made a change in the entire landscape of the country
Correct.
through their work.
Correct.
So now they have to act also as a link between the people who are absorbing through the screen and the
It's a
people.
responsibility.
Yeah, it's a big responsibility. People who are building on site and people who are actually absorbing through screen are two different set of people.
Yeah.
It is this link. The influencers are the link to tell the younger guys that boss, you need to work really, really hard.
Do you think like the council can play a part in this influencing in some way?
Very interesting. The Council of Architecture certainly can.
Yeah.
I think it has started. Luckily, in the last about 6-7 years, I've been closely associated with the Council of Architecture. I've been working with them in multiple capacities for multiple events and multiple activities that the council does. So they recently started a podcast where they are talking about the responsibility of young architects in the field as well. And that is why I was so interested and very happy that this podcast is happening today, because it is what is needed. The Council of Architecture has been designing the curriculum in a manner where unless you have learned theory, you don't go into practical training. Once you have come back from practical training, you are asked to do a thesis using all of that knowledge. But it doesn't stop there. The council wants you to register with them, keep doing the CEPs, the continuing education programs, and then there are teacher training programs, and then there are so many of these training and research centers in the country where people can learn from. I think there are efforts being done. The problem is we are such a community where these efforts don't really immediately reflect.
Yeah.
The whole field is a slow growing field. I remember in a podcast, our Council of Architecture current president, Professor Abhay Purohit's mentioning that 90% of the country don't have access to the services of an architect. Forget architect,
Correct.
services of a designer.
Correct.
Now, if I don't have an access to that service only, how will I know what the architect or the designer is going to do
Contributes.
for me?
Correct.
And this 10% who has the access are in the metros and in the cities everywhere, and they are using the service. Now, our role as professionals and role as young students, young graduates, is to reach out. I see a lot of good firms, young firms, guys who are contributing in tier 2 and tier 3 city. They're doing some fantabulous work. They're not just building the corporate offices. They are doing that, of course, but they're also contributing in tier 2, tier 3.
Correct.
Again, that's another responsibility that I think the profession needs to go out. Outreach has to increase as profession, and professionals must contribute everywhere.
Yeah.
We've had people doing projects in the Western Africa or the South Africa as well, where generally you wouldn't have had access to electricity and water also.
Correct.
But then now people are reaching out and doing social projects, socially responsible projects. I feel this entire community of architecture will largely benefit if we start telling the young minds that they have the power to change.
Yes. Correct.
This whole
Correct.
idea of power to change will make them more responsible.
Correct. Like, if you ask me what is the memory you have of your city, I don't know. I don't remember. And now I think the new memory I will have is of podium parkings,
Right.
multi-level parkings. But this is a question I think everyone needs to start questioning and needs to start understanding that there is no category of a social project, and every project contributes as a social responsibility. So, with that being said, do you feel like the competitions that happen at college level, like NASA and all these other competitions that you've actively been mentoring, guiding, you've been the juror, do you think that these are, going to contribute more, and students should really take these up very seriously? And how do you feel that impacts? So I had missed out on many of these competitions, and I can feel how that has really bothered me. It's bothered me a lot. So what would your advice be on this subject?
I think it's very, very important topic that you have touched. Students don't use all the avenues that are available to them. Forget students, professionals are unable to use.
Because, sir, that race is there. You have to get these marks. So then this is all secondary. It's
I know,
secondary
and I think could become primary as well.
Yes.
In the last 1 month or so, I have seen Council of Architecture promoting so many design competitions for professionals. I've seen the Indian Institute of Architects, including the Pune Center, promote a lot of design competitions as well.
Yeah.
And I see that students have so many opportunities and avenues actually to go contribute their design ideas, but they are unable to do that because they think the bare minimum academia, the bare minimum classroom work itself is becoming too much for them.
Yeah.
But when you look at the larger scenario at the country level, these competitions are a great avenue for new ideas to come forward.
Yeah.
And you mentioned about NASA, the National Association of Students of Architecture India. I think they have created a wonderful platform. It's in the 68th year now. And I remember you also in your 3rd year doing a lot of NASA work, and we went on to win a trophy. We went to convention also. What it does is it opens up your mind to things that you never thought existed. So as an architecture student, I think competitions, participating in various awards, participating in, as young professionals, participating with IIID, IIA, ASA, and there are so many other awards that are happening in the country. There are by a dozen actually. But that doesn't mean it will stop your work. You should participate.
Yeah.
You should carve out time and be a part of these competitions. It does 3 things, I believe. 1, it allows you to explore topics that you wouldn't otherwise get in your classroom or in your field as professionals. 2, it allows you to benchmark your work with others.
Yeah.
You will know in comparison, how's the world doing today?
Yes.
You only need to know what the world is doing. You don't have to race with them. 3rd, it will allow you to set your benchmark higher, to understand that you are doing better than yesterday. And I've been saying this on various forums. What is success after all? Success is doing better than yesterday.
Yeah.
If you are doing better than yesterday today, then today you are successful. Tomorrow you will be more successful if you do better than today.
Yeah.
So this is how that growth should happen.
Yeah.
So be it attending somebody's presentation, let's say if Sanjay Mohe was to present, and I'm sitting in the crowd and looking at what he is presenting, of course I'm learning something from it. And tomorrow if I go and sit in another forum and I'm looking at Raj Rewal's work, I'm again learning. There's no end to that learning part happening.
Correct, yeah.
And cut that, and I move to this whole idea of sitting in as an audience of a design competition, and there are 50 young bright minds presenting ideas with no inhibition, no thought of constructing it, but let the design flair come out.
Correct.
I'm going to learn even more, because the whole idea of new ideas coming forward, and then I learning from them and getting inspired is itself what the field is all about. We have to train the next generation to get inspired.
Correct.
So that being inspired is very important. And for that, I think academics plays a big role. Council has been doing their work. Some offices also have been doing their part in this. They do internal competitions, and they make students, their interns also take part in life projects also, competition projects. But I think larger responsibility lies with the schools of architecture. And I'm not saying schools of architecture, schools of design, right from product to furniture to graphics. There is so much that as designers, as architects, we can contribute to the overall visual identity of cities. A while ago you said, what is the visual identity of your city?
Correct.
It's not Shanwarwada anymore.
Yeah, it is parking.
It's parking. It's these podiums, it's this high-rise buildings on a very narrow street, and then there's no space to park also. It's just disruptive.
Yeah.
So what image do you want to create? It is the power with the students, the young architects, young professionals, to create a scenario where everything is in harmony, be it visual, be it environmental, be it social.
Yeah.
Because like you said, every project is a social responsibility. And most importantly, what image are we creating of ourselves to the world,
Yeah.
as a community and as a city as well?
Yeah. So we spoke about upskilling, we spoke about being a student forever, and you yourself are a research scholar. So I want to know, how do you do that, and how does it help you professionally? How does it help you in your projects? And if you could, break it down to a very simple method that all of us can actually start doing as well.
I think it's a very valid question from the point of view that research in the field of architecture is enormous. But there is so much scope yet that if all of us start researching about architecture, each one of us will have a new topic to look at.
Yes.
So when I decided to sort of upskill myself from just being a master's in project management or a master's in environmental architecture,
Yeah.
I thought I need to do some specialization, which will also help my teaching career, of course. But when I look at my own PhD journey and what topic I have selected, I realized that my connection with the profession is equally helping me in my
Yes,
academics
yes,
as well.
correct.
So it's not just about me, it's about every researcher wanting to do something. They must be able to link their work with academia and of course
Yes.
with the profession. So I'm sure you have known about people who have done plugins for Grasshopper and
Yes.
invented ideas for Rhino. There are people who have also made tiles out of carbon.
Yeah.
Right. So we know people who are from academia, who are from profession, but their research is contributing to the field.
Yes, yes.
And we have so many of these young guys, young entrepreneurs who are trying to make a difference through their product or innovation or even research to the entire field of architecture.
Yes.
So if I have to break it down, I think you only look at it as a 3-step process. One, you should know that there is a problem.
Yes.
As a professional also and as a young
The
architect
problem
also.
identification.
That problem identification is very important. Two, as a designer, as an architect, how can you contribute to it? So
Yeah.
that second important part is checking on with yourself what is your capabilities.
Yeah.
And three, making enormous effort towards research, making sure that you have gone out and tried to find out things
Yeah.
that will help contribute to solve that problem. If these 3 steps are followed by everybody, we will be changing not just the face of architecture, we'll be solving the problems of traffic probably,
Yeah.
environmental hazards, realignments of our rivers and lakes. We will be solving the problem of the whole idea of housing the poor.
Yeah.
There's so much of big social housing is a big problem in our country. And lastly, we will also be addressing how urban planners should look at how cities
Yes.
should grow.
Yes.
If all of us become responsible towards exhibiting our ideas in a researched manner, I'm sure the government, the local government also will take up opinions
Yes,
from
yes.
us and help us make changes.
And I think that in fact is the bridge between academics and the industry, right?
Precisely.
Yeah.
And I remember a project that your office is handling of a 15-minute city wanting to do
yes.
something that allows you to connect different parts
Yeah.
of the city in a walkable 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Where does this come from? It comes from a lot of research. The idea
It
itself.
comes from your personal problem
For-
of being stuck in the traffic jam.
For
That's
hours.
it. And it's just about opening your mind and your eyes. So I think that's where you're relating, right? So all of us are researchers first, and then we are, those gestators who are actually creating the design. And that means we need to have like a rigorous timetable that allows us to research, put that exact time there, put that effort there. So can you tell me like a little detail how you carry on this research and a little bit of your subject as well?
Right. So my topic for research is how user evaluate their houses as against how a expert would evaluate their house. So I think what I feel is we are missing out on a couple of things. When we look at good projects, we look at them as the icons in architecture. We don't really go and ask the users or the inhabitants of those
Correct.
projects whether it is working as an iconic structure.
Correct.
Are you looking at it as the best functioning house, or are you looking at it as the best looking house? most of the time experts would give the best house of the year award to the best looking house.
Correct.
Best presented.
Correct.
And very few of the times will the expert go and talk to the user whether the house is really functioning as the architect has designed it.
Correct.
And this led me to realize that various awards are given to the best presented house.
Yeah.
Not just house, let's look at it as a building.
Best sold or
Best
marketed.
sold, best marketed, best presented, good renders,
Yeah.
very good photography, good theory or good vocabulary used in the presentation, the
Content.
big jargon.
Now GPT will give you that.
And ChatGPT does that. But have you ever gone beyond the given brief and asked the user whether the roof leaks?
Correct.
Or is there enough sunlight? Or is there glare? Or is the room size perfect? There is very little work happening in this field.
Yeah.
So that is one aspect of it.
Yeah.
Likewise, have you gone to the road and checked with people whether all the footpaths are universally accessible?
Yeah.
Is the wheelchair going up to the last restaurant? Are there enough street lights in the evening?
Yeah.
Is there placed for people to sit, chat? All of this research will lead us to creating better solutions.
Yes.
And the whole idea, since time immortal, when man created wheel, since then it is about problem solving.
Yeah.
He identified a problem. They started solving it by creating the wheel.
Yes, yes.
The wheel was not circle, it was a square first. Then they eventually realized it had to rotate, so it became a circle. Then it started moving. So likewise, have we really sat and asked ourselves at the academia level and the professional level, what are the problems?
Yes.
Where are the problems? How do you want to deal them? Do you want to look at them as a researched ideology, or do you want to look at them hypothetically?
Yeah.
Or do you really want to make a difference on site by
Yeah.
addressing the issue? So research as a component is indivisible.
Yes.
We all will have to accept that. Two, it's no use only to have theory and no practice.
Yes.
So we will need a lot of support from the local self-government, local government, the municipalities, the government at large at the central and state as well, to help support this research into bringing it into practice. And professionals will have to come forward, offices like yours and so many big offices in Pune, they'll have to come forward, present these proposals to the authorities and tell them forcibly that we need to execute this. This is well researched, we know what we are doing and we need a solution.
Can you give me one example like you did, maybe like a research part that you addressed and then you incorporated, like you rightly said, the user experience. And recently I heard Thomas Heatherwick's lecture where he said that the building is not just for the users inside, it's also for the thousands of users looking at it from outside.
Outside as well,
Yeah.
right. So I'll give you a quick example, and this recently got us a lot of social media attention and print media attention as well. So at BNC it allows us, at academia it allows us to do a lot of things outside the box as well, the typical teaching thing. So at NASA India, they had a competition for contributing to a social cause in the field with a tie-up with an NGO.
Okay.
So I mentored a few set of students to research about what are the problems. There are these safety warriors, there are these cleanliness warriors that are there in our Pune city who are collecting garbage and picking up garbage, sorting garbage and then putting it to the right channel, putting it for recycling or dumping, whatever that is. So we tied up with an NGO called Swachh and we asked them what was the problem at the core level for these helpers who are helping, these volunteers who are, they are warriors, they are cleanliness warriors, they are helping keep the city clean. So they said that the pinjra, the cage that is created for sorting of these garbage collectibles is a very poor design. If we could look at a different design, it would make a lot of difference. So a set of 20 students and myself, we researched what were the genuine problems, how could we create a change by addressing this design. We researched, we found out the problems, we redesigned the pinjra and we made a 1:1 model and installed it at Siagal Road.
Okay.
And that is where people started using it. It was aesthetically more pleasing. It had more better colors. It was placed at the right location. The warriors, those guys had easy access. They were very happy that a new design came in. The onlookers were wondering what has happened, what is this structure like, and the students who contributed to it,
happy.
the users were happy,
Yeah.
the onlookers were happy, and the students who researched and created it, they are also happy because they are now making a difference on field. And this is just one of the projects. We have redone a bus stop before. We are always trying to. We have set up so many installations at different places, and not just through creating a building or a structure, but the design advocacy right now is at its utmost, I will say. So as a teacher, as a speaker, I get invited for advocating stuff like sustainability, project management, risk management, cost management, vernacular architecture, history. So I get opportunities. I'm lucky on that I am able to go and address these issues in the professional world. I was speaking at a Roof India expo recently. I was telling them how the roofs and the walls and the floors are three important elements of a building that need to not just address design, but also address sustainability, employ more people, look at more research, find more eco-friendly materials. It's a whole community by itself. So wherever you go, we must advocate about how can we make a change at the smallest of the level. And I think it starts with me. It starts with that I, and then the whole change will happen.
So this is like a research, roadmap that you would call it.
We should have that roadmap, and all of us should have a roadmap. And lastly, I would like to add on this is offices also do contribute. It's not. I'm in talks with a lot of people who contribute through product, through design, through social interventions. They should also have a roadmap for themselves. They should also say, in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time, I would like to do this sort of work and contribute to the field in a manner. And it will change within next 5 years. We'll have a different sense of practice. So as much as we are saying that there is a gap between the academia and the profession, as much as we are expecting the academia to evolve, we should also expect the practice to evolve.
I think that will also start putting a lot of international presence and start putting India on the map. This is exactly what happens in big firms abroad who are now doing projects in India. And what we want to do is just have this kind of a framework and a structure. You're absolutely right. Now looking back again, how many students apply every year for architecture? You know the number, I am not sure.
20,000 students would apply.
20,000. Now coming to a case like, my set of 10, 12 friends that I made at architecture, and this is 10 years back. Out of those 10 of us, it's only 3 or max 4 who are practicing architects. The others have either given up the profession or they are doing something else and they're happy. I'm not saying that they're unsuccessful. They're doing something else much better at it. So what is, I would say, attrition? Why is this attrition happening in our field and why people don't want to continue with the profession? I mean, I see mostly now kids are becoming social media influencers like we spoke about after architecture, and then they're just like, good we did it, but now we don't want it.
Right. Right. It's a valid question, and the most important question the Council of Architecture is also trying to address. There are multiple aspects to this. When you look at, let's look at it from first perspective is, the whole field is not giving you back economically as much, as quickly as any other design field also would give you. So that obviously we spoke about it before also. Patience is low. People want quick money, people want quick fame, so they are not resorting to the hard-earned money through architecture. I told you another point a while ago that most of the best practices in the world evolved at the age of 50, 60 and beyond. Even Zahadid became famous after the Vitra Fire Station Museum, which came much later in her life. So it's not about how fast you will get that fame or money. The third aspect I feel is students are looking at diversifying is also because those many options are available today. You understand 15 years ago, if I would have come to you and said UI, UX, you would have said, what are these? What does it mean? But today is the most important field. Everybody is looking at interfaces and user experience as if it's a child's play. 8th standard kid is coding for an app. Right? Why is it happening? Is because these many opportunities have evolved. So we have to give respect to that also. Fourth, I feel because architecture is a field for late bloomers, people sort of get busy with their lives in doing other things. They forget that they could have started a collaborative practice where you could have all like-minded people come together and done different things but related to design and evolved a vertical practice. The problem is we are looking at lateral growth. None of us are looking at a taller organization where we grow taller by coming together.
Correct.
And what you mentioned about people opting for becoming social media influencer, I think I was doing a talk with one of these interior design schools, and I sort of looked down upon these influencer, and I pointed out a few names and people in the crowd didn't like. But the whole point I was trying to make was that it's easy to get 1 million followers on Instagram. It's very easy.
Yeah.
But are you making that change in design, or are you influencing design in a manner by reaching out to those 1 million people?
Yeah.
So if you were able to do that, obviously then you are influencing minds of millions of people to create change in the society or in the field of design also. I feel what we have lost in this whole social media era or in the last 5-10 years is this whole idea of telling people that they're responsible for change,
Exactly.
growth. They can make an influence on the society by being true to what they're wanting to do. What has also happened for this attrition, another reason which I feel is evident and large is because they compare themselves with others, other fields. They see a IT professional earning more money, quick money.
Yeah.
The lifestyles of people have changed. The affordability of people have changed. People have better phones and I don't have. So what do? I'm an architect. I don't have an iPhone in my hand. What do I do? So this whole comparison is also bothering. My message to the young students now, or people who want to get into architecture, or people who have just graduated from architecture, is that be very, very patient on this. Because what happens is, unless you know that you will someday will be successful, you will not give that much time to something. We all are like that. We all want to know where is this road leading to. So it is for the profession also to sort of glorify and celebrate architecture as a field, for the younger ones to look at it and follow it. So again, I'm coming back to the same point I made a while ago, was, are the youngsters being shown the right path? Are they influenced enough to know where they have to go?
Yeah.
And is that future bright? Have we told them that? Because if you remember, I was telling you this very interesting fact that the younger generation's attention or patience is so low now that there's an experiment that is being done, that because screen absorption is so high, if you and me were interacting and we were to look at each other for 20 minutes, we would.
Yeah.
Because we come from a generation where our classroom lecture hours were of 45 minutes each. But now Gen Alpha, Gen Beta, after 30 seconds, 26 seconds to be precise, they look away from you. Because their focused time attention has reduced to that
20 seconds.
20 odd seconds. They start finding to amuse themselves later, which is lower than the rat's attention span.
Yeah.
So, like I mentioned to you,
which means now we are not even in the rat race, no?
No, we are not in the rat race. We are in a race which is probably
Sloth
slower.
race.
We're probably slower than that.
But sir, now you remember India was so different, let's say 10 years back, and now we have a very different country. We are at the brink of super development. And what keeps us behind is our architectural infrastructure. Let's be honest.
Right.
And if so many students are going to die away in this sense, and like you're saying, the attention is reducing, how are we going to, what is our future? I just want to hear it from, because you're a leader and you are shaping this generation of architects. I want to hear from you, what is our future now?
No, I won't want to be a pessimist on this. I look at it very optimistically. To be very honest, with whatever the 150,000 architects registered with the Council of Architecture we have, who are trying to make a living through architecture, interior design, product design, graphic design, all of them need to understand that they have to work hand in hand with the bureaucracy. See, unless I tell my father that I want a new phone and I nag behind him and convince him that why I need a new phone and why that phone is so important for me, and how am I going to use that phone to make a difference to my own life and probably others, he will not be convinced to give me that. Clear objective has to be stated. Have we done that with the bureaucracy? Have architects, have communities of
No.
architecture gone and advocated and pushed our thought to the bureaucracy?
There is weak communication. There.
There's
Yeah.
weak communication. Also, see, we have to accept there are egos.
Yeah.
As much as I have my own personal ego, the community's ego is larger. And so is the ego much larger at the bureaucracy level.
Correct.
Now, for that all to be bridged, all to be reduced, it is going to take time. But like you said, we are at that brink where we'll either make it or break it. But the making part is largely hopeful part because we all live in hope. So if the community decides to come together, raise their voice, create a platform, go to the bureaucracy, tell them why we want a change, why a certain city has to be planned in this manner, why this urban infrastructure is required, why this building can't be demolished, why is this a national heritage, why is this of social importance. Unless we reason, unless we tell the bureaucracy that boss we need it like this, we will not be able to drive change. And to drive this change, more youngsters, more number of students have to come into this field. And here I would like to appeal that young architects, young designers must take memberships of these social organizations,
Yeah.
these architectural bodies,
Yeah.
these interior design societies, this Indian Institute of Architects. They all must become a member of some association where they are able to then voice their opinion, raise their opinion, take it forward,
Yeah.
and come together. See, when you become one as a community, you'll be more forceful. And we have all since childhood looked at stories and heard stories where a single person may not be able to drive a change,
Correct.
but when you become a powerful force together, you can knock down a wall, you can create changes that you never thought of. So I think at our own level, individual level, we need to become more responsible, that we are a small wheel though, but we are a part of a larger cosmos of things, and unless we move, all those wheels won't move.
Yeah.
And to keep the clock running, we need to perform all the while.
Correct.
So the message is clear that if we have to grow and become a superpower, we have to be super active, super involved, super responsible, and contribute towards
Yes.
that driving that change.
So this is one advice I'm going to take personally. You advised me so many things while I was a student and I did not listen to you and later regretted. So I think this time it's important for people like me who are 10, 15 years midway and in our we are going ahead to our peaks. So I think it's important for us to be part of these communities, try and understand how we can contribute to this kind of shaping, this kind of community building. And on that note, I want to thank you, Mahesh sir, for coming here today and sharing your insights on this gap between academics and industry. And you're walking on that line so perfectly between, being a professional architect, being a tutor and a mentor. And I feel that today's conversation is definitely going to help for both the blacks and the whites and the grays to understand where they really stand, what are the next steps. And I'm sure that your leadership is always going to help this next generation of architects. So thank you, sir. Thank you for
so
coming
much.
today.
I think it's been a pleasure. This interaction should go out to the larger audience, and I think more people will benefit from it, and we should do these things more often. I would request you to invite more and more guests.
Yes.
And let them talk about this thing. It's a very important topic, and to bridge the gap between academia and industry is not a talking business, it's a doing business.
Yeah.
And I think with everybody's effort, we'll bring that change, and sooner or later we will look at a brighter future and be a part of it as well.
Yes.
So thank you very, very much for having me here.
So as we conclude this podcast, until next time, for all the architecture students, keep learning, keep questioning, and most importantly, do not be afraid to step beyond the syllabus.